unsure of what was happening with jobs after that ADP number on Wednesday was weaker than expected. And you've got investors now saying things are not as weak as some expected. Dow Industrial's up 251 right now. Joining me now with reaction is Shares CEO Joel Shulman. The labor participation rate at 62.4%. Dow Industrial's up almost 300, Joel. Give us your sense of what's driving markets right now.
Well, there's optimism here on the horizon. We've got the next CPI on June 11th. Real estate has been trending down. It's not growing as quickly. And so we've seen PEC come down. CPI in the last few months have come down. So I think the last CPI last month was a catalyst. I think we're going to see another catalyst on June 11th, coupled with this better than expected jobs report. So I think things are looking more optimistic. If the tariff impact is fairly small, and we'll wait and see what happens here, I think we've got better than average rate cuts in our horizon.
And, you know, if I may, I would also say that somebody needs to come up with a better idea on surveillance, because right now the Chinese and the Chinese Communist Party is the best at surveillance. I'm told by some significant American companies that the only place they can get their lenses, that they need specific lenses for cameras, for surveillance, is from China. So China has a lock on that. There's a reason that the best surveillance is happening in communist China. I wish an American company would come up with a way to beat the Chinese at surveillance, so we didn't have to have all these cameras that are, at the end of the day, ruled by the Chinese Communist Party. But Joel, that's one of the reasons that you've seen so much money move into growth. Yeah. And investors are once again looking at growth, AI, ETFs. Tell us where your ETFs are, what they're telling you in terms of where the money is moving in investment right now.
Well, we're a little unusual in that we have a private equity position in our fund, so with SpaceX and Anduril and so forth. There's a lot of demand, and we saw it just yesterday with Circle. I mean, there's a lot of demand in trying to get into these companies before they go public, and we've got a lot of great private companies that are not yet public. They may never go public, but many of them will in the next year or two. And there's an extraordinary amount of demand and excitement over these companies, like a SpaceX, which does a lot of surveillance, by the way, globally, like an Anduril, like a Klarna that's coming out. So there's a lot of demand right now in pre-public companies, and I think the American public is trying to figure out ways to get in there. And you're seeing more democratization across lots of areas, not only in equities but also fixed income. Yeah. And the market's actually responding today, I think, in part too, for short cover. The shorts got burned very badly in May. They lost a lot of money, and I think they repositioned back at the early part of June, and I think some of this is going to be a short recovery. And if we see on June 11th a good CPI number that comes in low, we've got to remember that right now the Fed rate is 2% above where it is in the ECB, and our inflation's the same, right? It's now the same and perhaps even a little less. So I think if the job number, which came out today, is good and better than expected, and we see a good CPI next week on June 11th, I think this and the tariffs are kind of staying at they're not getting out of control in terms of prices. We could see a very strong summer, and then as you point out, and Cheryl mentioned a few minutes ago that maybe we'll see something in July, possibly. She's been very accurate in predicting possibly September.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned privates, because I agree with you. Privates are hot. Investing in private companies right now is becoming easier. In a number of firms. You just mentioned your own private equity arm in terms of your firm at Shares, but there's also, we spoke with Henry McVeigh yesterday from KKR. They've got, $680 billion in AUM, 30 billion of which is KKR money, and they are investing in private companies and growing those companies. So yeah, you're right. Increasingly, money managers are looking to include private companies. Investing in privates is hot right now. Yeah. Joel, are you also seeing capital move into energy-related funds?
Well, we are starting to see it now. Energy, as you point out, it has bottomed out in the minds of many. So I think there's a lot of excitement there. A lot of move. Oh, you mentioned also data centers. A lot of excitement about these nuclear power plants, and there's going to be more capital there.
Absolutely, and that's been an area that's been uninvested. Guys, amazing conversation. We so appreciate it. Joel Shulman, Joni Biley, Steve Moore, Alfredo Ortiz, John Lonsky, Cheryl Casoni. Great to talk with you all. The numbers were better than expected. The market is once again on fire.